This is one of our first Esquire Sessions, our new event franchise, which I'm very happy that we are hosting with Chanel to celebrate the launch of Bleu de Chanel L'Exclusif. I'm thrilled to be joined tonight by three very, very stylish men. To my left is Kit Price, influencer and model, the wonderful journalist, editor and aesthete Ben Cobb, and well, actually, no, I shouldn't touch on that. We'll talk about that later. And of course, stylist Rudy Simba Betty, who joins us from Paris this evening. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us here this evening. So we're going to be talking about building your identity through scent, which is something I certainly have done through my life, and I'm sure the panelists have done too. So we're going to learn a little bit more about it. So, first question to each of you. The original Bleu de Chanel was launched a staggering 15 years ago when you were all but wee tadpoles, I'm sure. What is your first fragrance memory, Kit?
My first fragrance memory probably started when I was in school. I hit puberty quite late.
What, last year?
Yeah, a couple of years ago. I think I was probably one of the latest to start wearing a fragrance amongst my friends, but I remember my roommate at the time got very into fragrances, and he had a few bottles, and at like 16, 17, I was like, oh my God, I'm starting to smell a little bit. So I remember pinching some of his stuff every now and then before school, and then slowly starting to get into it. And I think my best mate got me a bottle for my birthday when I was like 17.
Okay.
And that was the first fragrance I ever owned, and I've still got it.
Really?
Yeah.
What, the original bottle? Oh,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
empty. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It is empty, but.
And how quickly do you get through a bottle of fragrance these days? Do you splash it on, or are you more of a kind of conservative spritzer?
I'm not too heavy. I reckon I get through like 4 or 5.
I mean, that's pretty heavy.
Is that heavy? Okay. Yeah, no, it depends what I'm wearing, but I reckon I get through a bottle every 3 to 4 months.
Good for the fragrance business. Anyone who's here this evening, you want Kit on your side. Ben, what's your first fragrance memory?
That's really heavy fragrance use.
Maybe I'm just really smelly.
I was thinking about this earlier today. Probably, honestly, I remember when I was very young, definitely more than 15 years ago, my father was traveling a lot for work, and I remember in the bathroom looking up and seeing he had a huge collection of like fragrance bottles, and obviously he was kind of duty-free. Buying in bulk, and he had lots of bottles of that. And I kind of have this memory as a kid looking at them and thinking how mysterious, in a way, fragrance, as a kid, it was hard to understand what fragrance was, why that was important. So yeah, I kind of remember seeing a whole row of bottles and thinking it was quite a strange, mysterious thing to...
It's quite chic having lots of fragrance bottles. There's that the photo of John Galliano's bathroom, just top to toe in fragrance bottles, not small and large, and it's kind of something I've tried to emulate but failed. I imagine you have lots of fragrance bottles in your house.
I do. It's quite well organised now. I've recently moved house, so I did a big cull, but it's kind of organised. But I'm sure we'll discuss later. I'm quite kind of rigid about. I just wear one fragrance for a while and then kind of move on. So it's not chaotic collecting.
Okay. And Rudy?
I think joining as well, similar memory. I think for me it was my dad for Christmas. I think there's like a moment when you're 16 and then you start to feel a little bit more, I'm a man. And my dad actually sat me down and watched me open my first bottle. And I think for him, at the time, maybe felt like a rite of passage. Right. And for me, it was just like, okay, I guess.
The building a sense of self is kind of, you can do that through fragrance, right? Like you could do it through clothes, you could do it through all of these ways that we express ourselves. And there's something quite powerful in building a signature. Have you done that personally or with one of your clients when starting them? Is that something you kind of use to help build a mood or an aesthetic?
I think regarding to my clients, I always do that thing when it's the first time we work together. I'll sit them down and we have a conversation. And I think talking about fashion is the least interesting part. It's more about knowing one another and how we can kind of build a language that makes sense for both of us. And I always ask them about their favorite book or the music that they listen and the scent that they like, because I think this is kind of world building around them, but also a clever way for me to find out more information and then go back on my side and then, kind of think of where we can go, basically. So scent is also very important. And I think personally, 100%, as we were saying earlier, wearing a perfume is probably the last thing that you do. The first thing that you do when you finish, prepping yourself, but also the last thing that you do before stepping outside. So it's like, for me, an accessory or like, wearing jewelry, or it's important and also helps me step outside the way I want it.
It's a statement of self, fragrance. How do you use it to that effect? I mean, you don't style people in the same way, but for yourself, how do you kind of use it to build your own aesthetic and sense of self?
I really agree with what you're saying about, it's kind of the last thing I put on. I get dressed, put an outfit together, and it's really the final kind of, no pun, but like the final note of that look. For me, it's really important. It's kind of, I always think it's almost like a fingerprint in a way. And I like the idea that, the more you wear a fragrance, you become, like whether it's at work or at home, but kind of synonymous with that scent. And I like that. It's like a finishing, when you leave a room or you meet someone, it's like an instantly identifiable thing.
And you say you have one scent, but do you wear different scents at different occasions?
Well,
do you have like a home scent?
I have lots of fragrances, but I kind of go through this thing where I like to kind of grow into a fragrance, and it almost works with the fragrance as well. You kind of grow into each other, and I think for me personally, I kind of do that over a period of time. And I'm a bit like that with clothes as well. I don't kind of pick something up, throw it on, and then the next week I'm on to something else. I like to kind of, have a relationship with, I wear a lot of the same things. I kind of mix it up so it changes all the time. But fragrance for me, I like to kind of grow into it, and then there's a natural development when it's time to move on and change that. But I don't kind of hop from fragrance to fragrance.
And Kit, how have you used fragrance to kind of build your own sense of self?
I mean, first off, I'm the complete opposite from Ben from what I'm hearing. I'm an awful consumer. I think for me, I spend most of my life getting dressed by other people. So a fragrance is kind of the only real say I have at times. So it's quite an important factor to me. Often it's the same process of like putting on my boxers on in the morning, like got to wear a fragrance. If I didn't leave the house, it'd be weird. But yeah, I mean, it's apart from like your sight, when you look at someone, your scent is part of your first impression of someone. So I think it's quite important to make sure that it resonates with what you want people to look at you like. And depending on my mood, it changes all the time. But yeah, I normally, once I find something I like as well, I'm quite onto that for a while. And I think it's nice to kind of look back at a time period in your life where you're like, oh, I was wearing this kind of fragrance, or I was dressing a certain way. And I had these friends, and then, you have these memories that kind of associate back to a fragrance as well. But yeah, I mean, depending on my mood and how I want to portray myself, sometimes in the evening I go for a little bit more of a punchy kind of statement piece. If I'm not really in the mood to be talking to anyone, maybe kind of more unapproachable fragrance. Yeah. But no.
If you want to smell virile, what scent would you wear, or fragrance note, perhaps? That was a very circuitous route to quite a boring question. Kit.
Sorry.
I mean, I quite personally like a vanilla scent.
Do you?
Yeah, I like that it's
It's
kind
very
of
sweet.
Yeah, I like the sweetness. I think it just shows a bit more kind of character, and I'm still, young enough to have a sweet scent, I think, in my day-to-day. So I'm going to milk it while I can.
I like that answer. That's really unexpected. Ben?
I quite like heavy. I like tobacco.
Kel,
Someone said
surprise.
quite musky. I am quite musky. Yeah. Almost like I like oud, but I think it has to be really, really subtle. And I don't think fragrance should be about kind of shouting like you've arrived and everyone can kind of, smell when you walk in a room and leave. I think it should be like a really nice sort of whisper in a way. And I like those quite heavy tones, but in a light way.
I love that idea of different cultures, like a different sense. Like in the States, they really, apparently, statistically love fragrances that smell like fresh laundry. Whereas in Japan, if you wear anything that's overpowering, it's just deemed as incredibly rude. So you're not allowed to, it's very frowned upon if you spray too much fragrance. So, Rudy, same question to you.
I think for me, it's less wanting to feel more virile or something like that, but more maybe, the mood that I'm in. And I think something like amber, sandalwood, something like this, like
lovely.
Quite warm, strong, but at the same time, as you said, like I love the idea of, what do you say, a murmur or something like that? A whisper.
Yeah.
French. But yes, a low whisper, exactly. I think it's quite the impression that you want to leave on people, something that is not too intrusive, but at the same time they remember you. And I think those notes for me are kind of comforting and
feel like
also memorable.
Sandalwood, oud, and vanilla would make quite a nice fragrance.
I agree.
One of the key ingredients in the new Bleu de Chanel L'Exclusif is sandalwood. Rudy, to your preferred note. If you could wear one note for the rest of your life forever, what would that note be and why?
I think one note is difficult because, again, it's about like your relationship with yourself and you're constantly evolved. But I think there's something about amber that speaks to me. Even just the word, I love what it evokes, and it's complex and warm, but at the same time kind of, I don't know. Yeah, I think its complexity makes sense to me. So maybe something like that, maybe amber.
Lovely. Ben?
It's difficult. At a push, I would have to say, I think tobacco, somewhere in there, tobacco. For me, it kind of speaks of late nights, and I like that. I prefer nighttime from daytime, really. And it kind of speaks to that. Well, I do, sorry. It's like, I would say that like nighttime, there's so much, I don't know, it's kind of mysterious and there's more potential. I don't know, I find it more exciting.
I think I know what yours is.
Well, yeah.
Blueberry.
Well, I'm trying to think strategically as well, because I don't think my nose has grown into the likes of oud or tobacco, but I think I'll spend more of my life wearing that, so I might go down that direction instead of blueberry or something silly like that. But yeah, one of those that I think I will wear throughout my later stages in my life for a good amount of time. So maybe oud.
Lovely. So you've all smelt the new Bleu de Chanel L'Exclusif. I would be intrigued as men of style to know what outfit you would pair the fragrance with. Kit, let's start with you.
Can I take Ben's outfit?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Perfect.
That's a high praise.
Yeah,
high
sweet.
praise. Ben, your outfit?
Well, no, I was thinking of similar, but like a kind of a tuxedo.
Nice. Where from? Oh, no.
Huh?
Vintage.
Vintage. Very well.
Very uncomfortable as well.
Rudy.
Yeah.
I can't have to say Ben's outfit as well, but I think, maybe Ben outfits with flip-flops.
Very good.
With flip-flops. Nice.
I think that's us. So thank you so much for joining us. It's been really wonderful. Thank you to the panel too.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.